This week, we've brought you some of the harrowing stories of women who have travelled to Turkey in search of cut-price cosmetic surgery. Their shocking stories of botched procedures have shown the dark side of the industry. After watching our coverage, we were contacted by Isabella. Aged just 20, she flew to Turkey in secret for a so-called mummy makeover. Low on confidence, she thought the surgeries could help her achieve the perfect look she'd seen on social media. Instead, an already vulnerable woman was left close to death after contracting a flesh-eating bacterial infection. And a warning that Geraint Vincent's report contains details that some viewers may find distressing.
I feel like no one's born hating themselves. I feel like it's a thing you develop over time after experiences and constantly being exposed to these images of how you should look.
For a long time, Isabella Crawford thought that she didn't look good enough, that she wasn't pretty enough.
I went to Turkey to try fix how I felt. It wasn't necessarily about an image I was trying to achieve. I just felt so bad inside, and I thought going somewhere like that would make us happy, because on social media that's what they tell you. I couldn't see another way out of feeling how I felt apart from ending my own life, and I thought that the option to go to Turkey and be able to physically change how I feel was the better option.
Isabella followed influencers on her social media feeds who were promoting trips to Turkey for cosmetic surgery. She contacted directly one apparently very popular surgeon. His assistant asked her to send them a picture of her body.
So I sent that image over, and he recommended quite a bit of surgery for a 20-year-old girl to receive. But at the time I just thought, he knows what he's doing, everyone seems to be going to him, and he just knows best. I was just really naive and trusted him. And what he recommended I get was a mummy makeover, even though I have no kids and I'm only 20 years old. I got a 280 tummy tuck, I got a breast uplift, I got 360 lipo, and I got a Brazilian butt lift. And he never mentioned how long the surgery would take. He just said, that is the best surgery for my body.
When Isabella landed in Turkey, the clinic had laid on a limo to pick her up from the airport. It was the first and only time on the trip that she felt looked after.
So I go to sleep, I get woken up to my surgeon. That's the first time I ever met the surgeon. And I expressed why I was getting the surgery done and how sad I was, and there was no concern for me mental health at all. He just brushed it off. So he put us in front of a mirror and he lifted up like my boobs and just drew all over us and was like, "You're gonna look amazing." He was like, "Just relax, trust us." So I got into the bed and a nurse came in and put us to sleep. And I got returned to my room at 6 p.m. at night. So I was gone from 9 a.m. in the morning, and I don't know where I went, who touched us, or what happened.
Isabella has some photographic evidence of what happened that day, but the next thing she knows for sure is that she woke up with several surgical wounds and various bags attached to her body, which were filling up with blood.
I just remember seeing my body and I was just black and blue. I don't know how I survived that. I felt like an experiment to see how far the body can be pushed. That's the only way I can describe it. So we'd done a walk, and we walked through the corridors, and there was other girls like me in bandages, black and blue, and they just looked so sad. Like, I felt like we were all there for the same reasons, and we were willing to put ourselves through so much pain just to feel okay.
Isabella was discharged to a hotel, and within a few days the clinic gave her a fit to fly certificate.
As soon as we were in the air, I was just pouring of blood and liquid all over, and I just remember looking at the time and I thought, I'm going to die on this flight. I'm not going to make it home to my mum. And I kept getting up to go to the toilet just to sit on the toilet and let all the blood and liquid just pour out my stomach. And I was just so glad when my plane touched the floor that I had made it home, because now there's a chance I can go see my mum and say goodbye. So I remember just my main focus was just getting home alive and telling her and saying how sorry I am. And I remember knocking on the door, and she opened the door and she was just horrified. She was like, what's happened? And I explained to her what I'd done. And she took us upstairs and she stripped us off naked, got all the blood and the bodily fluids off us. And she was like, Izzy, we need to ring for help.
They rang 999, and as well as being in fear for her life, Isabella felt sorry for having to seek the help of the NHS.
And the girls that came, there were 2 young paramedics, and I think they knew to do something like that to myself. I was in a lot of pain to go through that, and they were just so nice. They were like, don't be embarrassed, don't worry, people make mistakes, we're going to fix you, we're not going to let you die. And I got scans, swabs, everything they could do to find out what was wrong with us. It came back that I had a flesh-eating bacterial bug that they had never seen before. I had fat necrosis and I had severe openings of the wounds. And the whole nurses on the ward just couldn't believe anyone would perform that amount of surgery at once, never mind on a 20-year-old girl.
So to begin with, I'm prepping the skin with some moisturiser.
Isabella is a professional makeup artist, and she has since returned to her work, much of which takes place on social media. But her attitude to those channels is very different now, and she's leading a campaign to make it illegal for social media influencers to promote cosmetic surgery.
These influencers will not take responsibility for what they have caused, as they are happy receiving the free treatments they get. And for some reason, their surgeries never seem to go wrong. It's all rainbows and daisies on Facebook and Instagram. Please don't fall for it. There's so much more to life than being beautiful. There's so much more. It's not worth dying. I'm really upset. It's just, you don't realise how much pain you're going to endure over there. And there's just more to life than being pretty.
It's so distressing there for Isabella, and it's important to say that she got in touch with us to tell her story. It's the first time she's spoken about it because she wants to warn others, doesn't she?
Yeah, what happened to her is, in many ways, a textbook example of how things should not be done. And there's so many things, Lou, but starting with that appalling situation that she described where a man is looking at a photograph of her body and telling her what she needs to have done, that is no basis for plastic surgery to go ahead. Reputable clinics don't book you in for an operation on the basis of a photograph. I spoke to a cosmetic surgeon in London yesterday, and she told me that she never operates on anyone unless she's had at least 2 face-to-face consultations with them 2 weeks apart, so the patient has had time to think about it. And a big part of that is assessing whether or not the patient's in the right place mentally to go ahead, and whether or not the procedure is actually going to work for them and solve a problem for them and enhance their quality of life. Now, Isabella's very open about her mental health problems. She's since been diagnosed with body dysmorphia. That's a mental health condition where you become obsessed with what you think are flaws in your appearance. What she needed was help with that, and help with trying to process all of those so-called perfect images that she was looking at on social media. What she probably didn't need was plastic surgery, and certainly not the surgery she had.
Yeah.